Shalom, everybody, to the Masha Park and everybody online. Um, yeah, I started something new, just trying to figure out, what to bring out, what the Most High could help me bring out and be edifying to the people. And I know, like a lot of newer people have been tuning in or watching on YouTube, or you know, people have talked to their friends and family members, etc. So just kind of figured doing something kind of back to the basics type of thing, to help out and to kind of reaffirm things to ourselves as well. So this is called Who, What, When, Where, Why, and it's kind of like what we were taught in school, or some of us, I guess, were taught in school, but you know the book has the Bible, it's starts at Genesis for a reason, and a lot of our people, they don't want to read the Bible from the beginning. I was just talking to someone recently about that, and I'm like telling them over and over, you just need to start at Genesis, and they want to read all the Psalms and the Proverbs and get all of these secretive hidden meanings of things, and they don't know the who, what, when, where, why, and of course we know they also have how. But today I'm just going to cover the who and the what, because I didn't want it to be super long. I mean, it can just, the who by itself could have just been the whole class, but I kind of just tried to refrain from having to put every single precept. I'm trying to get better at that. Um, but yeah, just starting off with the who and the what today. My praise report is that the Most High allowed me to finally get approved to work from home a couple days out the week. So I'm thankful for that. The Most High has definitely been answering all my prayers. Then it definitely is not on my time, but it's always on His time. So I'm thankful for that. He's definitely taught me a lot of patience. He's taught me a lot of things. And so I just thank Him for everything, big and small. Um, so just jumping right into it, it's a little bit different just being here on the Zoom. So just jumping right into the who. If stationary or wherever you are, if you have the ability to just turn your Bibles to Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. Let me do this real quick. All right. So Genesis chapter 12, starting at verse um starting at verse 1. Genesis chapter 12 says, Now the Lord, or Yahweh, has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great. And thou, or you, shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curseth him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So, skipping down a little bit and going to verse 7, it says, And Yahweh, or the Lord, appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. So we see that the Most High, the subject of the matter, in Genesis, where the Most High is making a promise, he's starting off making a promise to Abraham. Starting off making a promise to Abraham, saying how he's going to make Abraham out of him a great nation. He's going to bless him. He's going to make his name great, and he shall be a blessing in all of the earth. Jumping over one chapter, Genesis chapter 13, and it's verses 14 through 18, but 15 being like the key is on the, it should be on the screen. 14 says, and the Lord or Yahweh said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall the seed, or thy seed, also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. So the Most High again is reaffirming that he's establishing something between him and between Abraham, but also between Abraham's seed. Um, so we're kind of going in order, and you're going to see how the Most High transferred this same promise, and how and who he transferred the promise to. So skipping over a few chapters, we want to go to Genesis 17. Genesis 17, and let me see what I want it to be. Let me read verse 4. Now, some of this is going to overlap, like the who and the what is going to overlap, just because that's kind of how, the Bible works. That's how the Most High's word works. So some of this will overlap. You might see some of the same verses here and there. But just starting at verse 4, it says, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and you shall be a father of many nations, talking about Abraham. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and your seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a power or a God unto them, and to your seed after you. And I will give unto you a seed and your seed after you the land where you are a stranger, all of the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God or their power. Um, and the Most High said unto Abram, you shall keep my covenant, therefore. Can you hear me?
It's kind of low. If you can try to turn your speakers up or move closer to your mic just to get a little bit more volume.
I think I got everything
Apologize.
turned
It
up.
might be on your side. Shamar, you sound perfect to me. I apologize. Check
Same.
check the sound on your side.
It's clear. It's just kind of low. I checked all my volumes. But just if he finds, go ahead and continue on then.
Fine. All right. Um, Let me skip down because I think I come back to that. So let me skip down. Um, so verse 16. Verse 16 says, well, 15. And the Most High said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah, for her name shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto the Most High, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. So Abraham is saying that Ishmael should be the son of the promise. And the Most High said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac or Yatazak, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant and with his seed after him. So right here, you can see that the Most High is continuing the promise he made to Abraham, but he's continuing it through Isaac. He's continuing it through Isaac. He's not continuing it through Ishmael. And as you'll see a few slides later, that he also had some other sons. But so the Most High is saying that he's dealing with Abraham. Now he's saying he's dealing with Isaac. Does that make sense to anybody? If anybody could unmute.
It does.
I just don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. And it says that I will establish my covenant with him and for an everlasting covenant with his seed after him. The his seed is the seed that comes after Isaac now. So Abraham, Isaac, and the seed that comes after Isaac is what the Most High is talking about. So skipping over again, we're talking.
1 second.
Go ahead,
Can you, because we have babes on, can you expound, especially because Christianity has drilled down so many years that that promised seed was Messiah. So do you mind, or are you equipped to address that that seed is not actually Messiah? Can you correlate that?
I'm not exactly sure like like how what you're.
Back Go back to that last slide. I explain it. So for those not familiar, because we have a lot of new names, a lot of new faces inside the Zoom classroom. For those not familiar or still trying to make sense of what's going on, the Christian dogma, Christianity has taught us that that seed that's promised right here, that seed is Messiah. And as long as you have faith like Abraham, you are now a part of that seed because you have faith in Messiah. And that's not what this verse is talking about. That's not what the Most High is promising. He's saying that your physical seed is gonna be through Isaac. And the way the Christian church try to confuse people is they're saying that seed is one and Christ has to be that seed. But the word seed for the pagans, that word seed is what they call a zero plural. Like the word fish, you don't say fishes, you say fish. I caught fish. You don't say deers, you say deer. So the Christian clergy has twisted this promise and making people think that Christ is the promised seed, and Christ is not the promised seed. It's actually Abraham's physical seed through Isaac's line, if that makes sense.
The water for that. Yep. That's why we, work good as a group or as a unit. Um, and that definitely helps because though I might understand it, somebody else, like you said, they may not have understood it from that perspective. And that's what I'm trying to drill home that the Most High is talking about a physical lineage, a physical seed, and he's like repeating and like making it clear who this promise and covenant is being established with as we continue on. So feel free, obviously, anybody to interject at any time, ask a question or raise your hand. All I can see is the presentation right now. Um, so Genesis 21. Let me see. No, really, just Genesis 21 and 12. The Most High, it says, and God or the Most High said unto Abram, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of the bondwoman. So this is speaking about um, Ishmael and his mother. In all that Sarah have said unto you, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So the Most High is once again establishing that the promise that he's making is going to be fulfilled through Isaac. And in Isaac's seed. And then 13 just says, and also of the bondwoman I will make a nation because he is thy seed. So he was gonna obviously let Ishmael and his mother go away, but he wasn't gonna leave them, without anything. So verse 13 is saying he's still giving them a blessing, but the promise that the Most High is making is going to through Isaac, if that makes sense. So skipping over, we're going to Genesis 25. Genesis 25. Um, you got that out? So Genesis 25 and verse 5, it says, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and he sent them away from Isaac his son, while yet he lived eastward unto the east country. So right here we can see a separation. The Most High Abraham had gave everything that he had unto Isaac because that's the promised seed. That's the one that the Most High said that the promise is going to be fulfilled through. And though he had other sons, because a lot of times people ask us, like, what about the other sons of Abraham, or what about the other nations? But the Most High is the one. God is the one that's being specific and saying that He is passing this promise down to Isaac. He's being specific on who He's passing this down to. Did anyone have any comments about that or want to expound? Or Abijah, did you want to expound?
No, this is right now. It should be apparent. Well, I don't say apparent, but you're laying the foundation. I think you're doing a good job laying the foundation because those who don't know, I know we have a lot of new people, a lot of new faces. What Ak is reading right now, the promises to Abraham, is affecting the world right now. They're fighting in Israel right now because of what we're reading right now. Those people think they are Abraham's seed, and that's why they think they're privileged to that land, and that's why they've been at war since 1948. So what we're reading right now is relevant to today and is relevant to our future. So I think you're doing a great job.
If you can, I guess, admit Lawanda.
Yeah, God, I'll take care of that. I'll just keep going, keep your flow going.
Yeah. All right. So jumping over a few chapters to Genesis chapter 28, and Genesis chapter 28 and verse 1, continuing with the who is the Bible written to, who is the Bible written about, who is the promise that the Most High given to, and written to. So we started with Abraham and into Isaac, and we see here Genesis 28 and 1, it says, and Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him that thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Because obviously we know that um, Isaac had Esau and Jacob, and we're seeing here, I kind of skipped through that part about the selling of the birthrights and all of those things. I didn't want to like belabor the point or draw it out too far. But dropping down to Genesis 28 and 10, it says, and Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put for them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the aratazo of the earth, and the top of it reached to the heavens, the Shemayim. And behold, the Malachim, or the angels of the Most High, ascending and descending on it. 13. And behold, the Lord Yahweh stood above it and said, I am Yahweh Elohim of Abraham. I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to you will I give it, and to your seed, and to and your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad toward the west and to the east and to the north and to the south, and in thee and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So the Most High now, in a dream to Jacob, is reaffirming, reestablishing the covenant, letting him know that I'm the same power that was with your father Abraham and your father Isaac, his forefather Abraham and his father Isaac. So the Most High is being specific on who he's passing this down to. So the Most High is visiting those that he is working with. And in this case, now he's coming to Jacob in the dream. And in 15, he says, Behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again to this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken of thee. And Jacob awakened out of his sleep and said, Surely Yahweh, or the Lord, is in this place, and I knew it not. So the key here was just that um, the Most High has transferred and continued his covenant, his promise from Abraham to Isaac, and now he's beginning to speak about Jacob. So typically we'll do like a Sharash Ibar, which is like a Hebrew roots to explain some of the Hebrew characters and the Hebrew meanings. Um, and it's a little different, I guess, being on Zoom than being in the class, but um, this right here is reflective of Jacob. This is Yasher Allah, and you have the Yah, the Shah, the Ra, the Ah, and the La, which is a shepherd's staff. Um, so the first character is called the Yah. It's the arm of a man. It can be an arm with a closed hand. It can represent work as well. It can represent rulership. It can now the next character is called the Shah. In the ancient pictograph Hebrew, is like two front teeth coming together. With your two front teeth, you tear your food, so it could be to destroy or separate, but it also can be to connect or to join. The next one, we have the head of a man. The head of a man could be represented as the chief, the head of something, or the beginning. The Most High Yah, because the Most High Yah is the chief. He is the beginning. And also, it could represent a man. The next character, the Ah, excuse me, we have it could represent the first. It can represent um, an ox. It can represent something being powerful or strong. And the last one, we have the shepherd staff. It can mean to lead. It can also mean to shepherd something. And each one of these can mean a few other things, but these are just a few on breaking down and how to process like what this could mean. Um, and then this also is kind of like two words put together, Yashar and then Allah. Allah just means God or power. So most times, a lot of people are familiar with Muslims when they say things like "all praise to Allah," and Allah just as meaning God or power. But we know that our power is Yahweh. Our God has a name. So Allah itself, it just means God or power. Yashar could be prince or ruler, and it's got these two words together. Most Tazabah, before I continue, did you want to add anything? concerning this?
No, just for those, I want to give a cross reference and tie it in to why this is so important. Uh, Yasser Allah is the original name of our nation, and Jacob had his name changed to Yasser Allah. And what Shemaria is bringing out, it just means power of the princes or princes of the power. And that famous scripture we learned in church, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, and Christians still quote that verse, but he was talking to a physical people called by his name. So all my first time visitors were trying to make the Bible come alive, and so you can see yourself in the Bible. So that's what Second Chronicles 7:14 or First Chronicles 7:14. So when you hear that verse quoted, if my people who are called by my name, he's not talking to born again believers. He is not talking to a new group of people called Christians. He's talking to physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So Shemaria is trying to bring the Bible alive for you so you can see yourself in the Bible. We are Yasher Allah. We are the physical people called by his name. Not just because we have faith in Messiah, we are true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm going to have two references in the New Testament to show you why a physical bloodline to Abraham still matters to Messiah and the Most High. I'm going to show you two references in the New Testament. Second Chronicles 7 and 14. I yield out.
Khan, okay. I thought you said you're going to show two references in the New Testament.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to interrupt
I,
your flow.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when. I'll let you
Okay,
know when.
calm.
Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for that. Real quick too, isn't it true that the Yah can represent he, like he?
Yes, Yah is the Hebrew pronoun he. Yah is he.
Okay. So like another way that you could look at this too is so the arm being he and then the two front teeth being joined it also can be like he is joined to the chief power or he is joined to Yahweh Elohim. You see that?
Khan, I do see that.
All right. And so, Naraya, if were you free? Did you have any comment or anybody that's familiar with the how we do the Sharash Ibar? Did y'all have any comments? Didn't want anybody to be left out.
Did you tell him what Sharash Ibar means?
Yeah, Hebrew roots, right?
Okay, Khan, I didn't hear that. I didn't catch it.
The only thing I would add, just to say, I don't know if you have said it yet, for anybody who's tuning in, Yashar Allah is the Hebrew word for Israel. This is where you get the word Israel from. Um, Other than that, also Yashar, the word Yashar is another word for righteous or upright. If So that's just two things that I would just add on.
The water for that. I appreciate it. So then we just gonna let the Bible define like this as well to show that it's not something that I'm just making up. It's according to Genesis chapter 32. So wherever you are, just turn to Genesis chapter 32 and then let the Bible define the meaning for you. Genesis chapter 32. I think I wanted to start. I think I'll just start at 22. Genesis 32 and 22. And he rose up that night and took his wives, his maid servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of that day, or breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. 27. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. or Yaqub. And he said, thy name shall be no more called Jacob, but Israel. So that's what Nariah was pointing out, the name Israel for Yasher Allah. For as a prince has thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. Also, too, the Septuagint, for those that don't know, the Septuagint is an earlier translation of the Bible during the Greek period, and it's a little closer to the source material. So sometimes it's written a little better. But just to give a different translation, the Septuagint says, thy name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall thy name be, for thou hast prevailed with God and shall be mighty with men or amongst men. So you can see here as we broke it down, then the Bible itself. A lot of times when we're reading, if we read names, especially, or places, and the very next sentence after the name or place, they'll give you and tell you what the meaning was or what the meaning is, if that makes sense. So right here, Ak, I'm gonna get ready and let you provide some witnesses. This is just a short review of the Who because I'm gonna be continuing this. So I'll be adding on to it as I go, but I didn't want to just start continuing to, be like 1,000 precepts. But I did put some quick ones on the screen for people to want to reference for themselves. So Jubilees 15 is one. Romans 9 is one. Psalms 147 is one. And Second Ezra 9 in the Apocrypha book is also one. That was a book that was taken out of the 1611 version of the King James. And from there, if you have your witnesses, this is the time to bring them out about the Who.
Okay, the water will buy for that. So, how's my audio? Is the mic clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mashapal, those still learning and trying to verify things, the Christian dogma teaches that a physical bloodline to Abraham no longer matters because of Christ. Faith in Christ supersedes a physical bloodline, and Christ didn't care about a physical bloodline. But that type of doctrine doesn't match the scriptures. So I'm going to give you two witnesses that you can jot down and show you that as Shemariah laid the foundation about the promises left to Abraham, his physical seed, Abraham's physical seed still matters to Messiah and to the Most High. Regardless of what Christianity teach, physical bloodline descendants still matters to the Messiah and to the Most High. So my first reference is Luke. Luke chapter 13 is the first reference. Luke 13 is the first reference. Dogma is just a word that means a method of teaching or a method of doing something. So you could be dogmatic about the way you make Kool-Aid. You could be dogmatic about the way you fry chicken. So Christian dogma, the pagan Romans came up with a method of how you are to win salvation, a method of how what defines you as a Christian. So we've been learning Christian dogma as we were going to church, and that Christian dogma came from Rome. The Christian dogma that we grew up with did not come from the Messiah, the apostles, or nobody from Israel. The Christian dogma we learned and was practicing came from Rome. So just to show you two witnesses that physical Abraham bloodborne descendants still matters to the Most High. My first reference is Luke 3. Luke 3 first, and then I'm going to go to the second one. So Luke chapter 3 is the first reference that physical descendants of Abraham still matters. Still matters. So this is Luke chapter 3. And Salaki, I took you here because this is the verse. This is the verse Christians take you to make you think that Abraham's seed don't matter. So this is Luke 3 and 8. This is why I want to read this one. This is Luke chapter 3 and 8. Bring forth therefore fruits worthy of repentance, and begin not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. So this is the verse Christians take you to try to show you that Abraham's seed don't matter, because God could bring up Abraham's seed from stones. And it sounds good, but the Most High never did. He never brought up Abraham's seed from stone. So this is the verse they take you to, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The two references I have is where was it at? I'm going to go to Luke 19. Let's go to Luke 19. I have to search for the other one. This is Luke 19, and where is it at? This is Luke 19 and 9. Luke 19 and 9, and this is red letter. And Jesus or Yahushua said unto him, this day is salvation come to this house, for so much as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. So this is red letter, and Messiah himself is pointing out that salvation has come to this house because he is a son of Abraham. The text is saying, for so much, it's just a pagan word saying, because you are the son of Abraham, you are the descendant of Abraham, salvation has come to this house. So the Christians can't use this Bible to teach that physical bloodline of Abraham doesn't matter, because this Bible doesn't agree with that dogma. Messiah didn't say that because you are a spiritual seed, a son of Abraham, salvation has come. Messiah says because you are a son of Abraham, salvation has come to this house. So that's our mission, to make this Bible come alive for physical descendants. And we do include Gentiles, but we want you to know you are a physical descendant of Abraham, and it matters to heaven that you are a physical descendant of Abraham. So that's my first witness. My second one is, I think it's in the same chapter. And I apologize. I just had it marked, and then I'll be multitasking. I just had it marked. Give me 1 second. I think it's the same. The other one is Luke 13. The other one is Luke 13, 16. Luke 13 and 16. Luke chapter 13, verse 16. And again, this is red letter. Red letter, they taught us, is Messiah's words, and I do believe this. This is Luke chapter 13, verse 16. And this is when they were trying to accuse him of healing on the Sabbath day. The Pharisees were accusing him of healing on the Sabbath day. And this is what he told them. Luke 13, verse 16. And ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has bound, lo, these 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day? So Christians take you here to prove that the Sabbath day don't matter. That's not what Messiah was telling them. He was telling them that this woman being a daughter of Abraham, why she shouldn't be healed on the Sabbath day. So again, the Christians have been taught this Bible by their enemies, by pagans who were not descendants of Abraham. So when they tell you that all you need is faith, you don't have to worry about no bloodlines, this Bible doesn't agree with that dogma. This Bible doesn't agree with that dogma. Messiah himself on many occasions pointed out that these people are descendants of Abraham. So that's what Ak is taking his time building the foundation, making it known that the promises belong to Abraham and Abraham's seed, and we are that seed. And I yield.
Real quick, Tazabah, do you mind stopping my share real quick? I'm gonna try to share my whole screen instead of just the keynote, because it's like not letting me, like I can't see my mouse or nothing.
Con, con. So is it still sharing?
Uh, yeah, it says it's still sharing. Like I can't hover over it and hit stop share myself. I can't see my mouse for some reason,
All right,
or
let me
and
see.
I can't escape out.
Let me do this. Wow, make it this.
I think it's working now.
Okay, so you're gonna reshare.
Right. I'm gonna try to just share um entire screen. All right, that's probably better. Yeah. All right. And, so just continuing on throughout for that. Throughout for that. It's still being weird, but it's okay. So now that we covered the who and trust me, we definitely could have continued going on and on and on about it. I just kind of wanted to start with like a foundation, like Tazaba Abijah said, and hopefully, you know, you'll continue to like review those things for yourself or tune in the future as we continue to go over it. Next, I just wanted to briefly touch on like the what meaning like what is this whole thing about? What's kind of the issue or the subject matter of you know the Bible itself, or what's the importance of him establishing the covenant or establishing something? What did he establish? So the what can encompass all those types of things. And just starting at Genesis 15, Genesis 15, Genesis 15. Real quick, Genesis 15 and starting at verse 4. 4 kind of uh, reaffirms more about the who, but it says, and behold, the word of the Lord or Yahweh came unto him, saying, this shall not be your heir, meaning his bond servant. So verse 3, um, verse Yeah. So verse 2, Abraham said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? So down here in 4, the Most High is saying that he should not be Abraham's heir, but he that shall come forth out of his own bowels shall be his heir. So again, that's reaffirming like what Abijah was saying earlier, that is a physical lineage, and the Most High is using that language, saying this is someone that is coming out of your own bowels that's going to be the heir that of the promise. Um, and then dropping down to 15 and see, I'll just read it all. Verse 15 and 12. It says, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And you shall go to thy fathers in peace, and shall be buried in a good old age. But in the last generation shall they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp passed between those pieces. In the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, saying, Unto your seed have I given this land from the river Egypt unto the great river Euphrates. So, right here, the Most High is establishing the covenant with Abraham and making a promise to Abraham's seed, which we already have triggered it down from Abraham, Isaac, to Jacob, and Jacob's seed, which would be the Israelites. Um, and he's saying that he's going to give him a land. He's going to give him the land from the river of Egypt, which would be the Nile, to the great river, the river Euphrates. And um, Naraya, are you free to unmute? I wanted to ask you a question, but if not, then I ain't going to worry about it.
You can go ahead. I step to the side.
So, did you want to expound a little bit on how you was telling me about the covenant, that like how the Most High splitting and parting the animals? Did you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Oh, Con, let me see if I can find the witness that goes along with it. But bear with me just for a moment.
No problem. I think you said Jeremiah.
Yes, yes, it's in Jeremiah. Okay, Con, it's Jeremiah chapter 38, verses 17 through 19. So essentially, what Abraham saw in his dream, the Most High showed him a dream, but he also sealed the promise or covenant with him. And before he went to sleep, Abraham cut all of these animals in pieces and put them in two rows. So in the dream, he saw a smoking furnace going through in between those animals. And in the ancient times, that was a way to swear an oath or make a promise or make a covenant with somebody. And what that signified was whoever walked through between those pieces of those animals, if you did not fulfill your promise, you were to be done the same way. So the Most High swore to Abraham by showing him that if I don't bring your children back the way I said I would, to be their power and them be my people, I will do this to myself. So it's pretty much
Hmm.
saying if I don't do what I tell you I'm going to do, I'm going to destroy myself. So um, my witness to that is Jeremiah chapter 34, verses 17 through 19, just to show you that this is a means of the elders and ancients making pacts or covenants with one another. And it just says, Therefore says Yahweh, you have not listened unto me in proclaiming liberty, everyone to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, says Yahweh, to the sword, to the pestilence, and to the famine, and I will make you to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. And I will give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant, which they had cut before me, when they cut the calf in two and passed between the parts thereof, the princes of Judah or Yahweh, and the princes of Jerusalem or Yerushalayim, the eunuchs and the priests and all the people of the land which passed between the parts of the calf, verse 20, I will even give them into the hand of their enemies and into the hand of them that seek their life, and their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of the heavens and to the beasts of the earth. So this is just a witness that shows you how very serious one covenants and saying things and making swearing oaths is, but more importantly, this is how serious the Most High God is to his people and the promises that he swore that he would perform to Abraham because of his obedience. So I'll let y'all take it back over from here and I'll yield.
the water for that. Tazaba Baja, did you have anything?
The water. I just want to keep tying this into present day for those who are still new. Uh, if Abraham's promises are spiritual, and if his physical bloodline doesn't matter because it's all about faith, then why is the whole, not the whole world, but why is the Christian nations, why are the Christians trying to say we should support Israel as the holy people? It shouldn't matter about them being the holy people if it's all about faith now. So the Christian dogma that it doesn't matter about bloodline Abraham because the promises now are to born again believers who have faith, that dogma doesn't match the prophecies and it doesn't match the scriptures. It doesn't match the scriptures. I just want to point that out.
All praises. So the water to Nariah and to Abijah for those witnesses. And prayerfully, that made sense what Nariah was saying about how serious these covenants and oaths were, and the promise that the Most High was making between himself and Abraham, and how serious that was. So that was great. I appreciate that. So jumping over to Genesis 17, we were here before, and I was saying how some of these things will overlap, and it's just wanted to point out that the what here is the covenant. So we was talking about the who, but the Most High is letting him know that I'm going to establish these things between his covenant. So I'm just going to read it, reaffirm just from the beginning of this chapter at 4, and then I'll stop at um, 12, 12, 13. So verse 4 says, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made you. And I will make you exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. And I will establish the what? My covenant between me and you and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant. That would be the when or how long, but we'll talk about that another time. To be a power or God unto you and to your seed after you. And I will give unto you and to your seed after you the land where are you art a stranger, all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God or their Elohim. And the Most High said unto Abram, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, you and your seed after you in their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant, and it shall be a token of the covenant or a sign of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger which is not of thy seed also. He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with money must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. um, 14. And the uncircumcised man child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He have broken my covenant. Um, Tazabah, did you want to have any comment about that?
You know I do. You know I do. Uh, I just want to keep pointing
I mean,
out for those still learning. Genesis 17 and 4, where it says that he's talking to Abraham and telling Abraham he's going to be a father of many nations. I just want to keep drilling down that the text doesn't say he's going to be a spiritual father. The text is saying he's going to be a physical father. So I just want to keep destroying Christian dogma every chance I get. As many times they have drilled into our heads that it's a spiritual Abraham's son, I want to drill down that it's a physical son of Abraham. So the prophecy does not say he's going to be a spiritual father. He's going to be a physical father of many tribes, many nations. I yield with that. The water up.
Yes, sir. Jumping over to, did someone else have something? Okay.
Yeah, real quick. Apologize. I just wanted to just comment from my personal walk and to understanding that we are the biblical Israelites. From my experience, we were all Abraham's sons until we started reading the Bible and looking into history and finding out that we were actually the blood descendants of Abraham. That is when it went from being we're all Abraham's seed spiritually to we are at no, you're not them, you're the Gentiles. So I just wanted to, I don't know if you can expound on that, Shamar, but that's something I noticed in my personal walk as far as coming into the understanding that we are the Israelites. It was all well and good when we had our former understanding that God loves everybody. But as soon as we started reading the text and understanding through history and through prophecy, most importantly, that we are these people, that's when it became an issue. But I'll yield with that.
Khan, it's just to me, it's like a spiritual thing. I just think it's a spiritual attack or something that happens when you start to bring out the truth. That's when the demonic forces are revealed, and now all of a sudden, even amongst our own people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And sometimes also too realizing that I think our people don't like to be held to a standard that we actually do have to do something. Um, and it would be easier for us to just do nothing and just believe or say we believe with no actions behind it. So I think it's like a big spiritual thing that, and plus we know that from the other nations and from the worldly view, it's a conspiracy against us. Like Psalms 83 says, for us to no longer be a people in the earth. And then we know too that it's a part of our punishment for disobeying the Most High. So I think all those factors play a part in what you were saying. So jumping over to continue about the covenant, the what, jumping over to Exodus chapter 6. Jumping over to Exodus chapter 6. Here we see that we know, or you might have to review and do the backstory about the Israelites uh, due to a famine, doing a great famine, being down in Egypt, and then we know that after Joseph, the Israelites began to be persecuted and afflicted by the ruler in Egypt who knew not Joseph and basically became what we became over here, which was slaves. Um, so the Most High is now speaking with Moses. So just going to start at verse 1. It says, Then the Lord, or the Most High, said unto Moses, or Mashah, Now shall you see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of this land, of his land. And the Most High spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am Yahweh, I am the Lord. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty. But by my name, Yahweh, was I not known to them. And I have also established my covenant with them. The what? He's established his covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, or Yasharallah, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. So the Most High is remembering the covenant, letting him know, like I was doing earlier, setting the foundation, is showing you that I came to Abraham, and then I came to Isaac, and then in a dream I came to Jacob and told him the same things that I told them, and told him that his seed I would take care of his seed throughout the generations. So now the Most High is letting Moses know that I have remembered the covenant. Verse 6, wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, or I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of Egypt, and I will rid you out of bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments. Verse 7, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a power or a God, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim, or the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of Egypt. And I will bring you unto the land concerning which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for an heritage. I am Yahweh. So the Most High has just reaffirmed to another generation of people this same covenant. And that's why I have this under the umbrella of the what. Does anyone have any comments or questions about this? No problem. So continuing on, going to Exodus chapter 19. Exodus chapter 19. And let's see if I had anything else. Yeah, so I'll just start at 3 for a little bit of context. Exodus 19 and 3. And Moshe went up unto the Most High, and Yahweh or the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shall you say unto the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. So now the Most High is letting them know about how he brought them out of that bondage. Verse 5, now, therefore, if you will obey my voice and indeed keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all of the earth is mine. So again, you see some of the who here. Even though the focus is the what, the Most High is letting them know that if you keep this covenant, if you follow his instructions and keep the bond that he had promised from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob, now to the 12, then they will be a peculiar treasure above the rest of the people that's within the earth. And then he says, verse 6, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. And these are the words which you to Moses shall speak unto the children of Israel. Um, verse 7, and Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Mashal, Moses, returned the words of the people unto Yahweh, or the Lord. So again, the Most High has told them the stipulations and the requirements between him and them, and what he's gonna continue to further explain, like what is gonna need to be done for this covenant. But let's get a little bit more in 24, and then come back. I think it's gonna come back to 20. I think that's how I did it. Um, so this right here is some Bibles. If you have like a physical one or certain Bible apps, they'll have a subheading there, and it says the covenant confirmed. This is just the Most High establishing and confirming the covenant between himself and the people, and he's using Moses as his instrument to do so. So I'll just read from 3 through 8. It says, and Mashal Moses came unto and told the people all the words of Yahweh the Lord, and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words with which the Lord hath said we will do. Excuse me. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent the young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings unto of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, the what? The covenant, and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord have said will we do, and be obedient. So the promise from the beginning, we said we was going to be obedient. There's really no way you can make a blood covenant like that to be obedient, to obey the Most High's commands, and then we get later in the so-called New Testament and say that we don't have to be obedient anymore. We just gotta believe. So again, Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people. Excuse me, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Did anybody have a comment about that?
No, I just wanted to support my wife over here. She just my wife is something special. I just want to support what you said because what you just said is a powerful point that they done push this new covenant on us, and we're new covenant believers, and we're new covenant kingdom people, and their new covenant has no part of being obedient. It's all about believing. But your new covenant is a false religion. Like it's so that point you made is very powerful. The root of our covenant is to be obedient. To be obedient. So I just want to support you with that.
The water. So jumping over real quick, just to some of the things that the Most High said in establishing the what, establishing the covenant, is Exodus chapter 20. And Exodus chapter 20 uh, goes over the Ten Commandments. And then after that, it continues. He just continually gives, his rules and instructions that go under the umbrella of these 10. We're not going to cover that because every word out of the mouth of the Most High is a commandment. And we said that we would be obedient, and we said that we would do all that he said to do, we would do. So that covers everything that the Most High said. But he did give us a 10 to kind of be like um, the headers of all the other um, commandments. So Exodus 20 and verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh the Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods or powers before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am Yahweh the Elohim, or the Lord thy God. I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So there's um, some stipulations there. He shows mercy to those who love him and keep his commandments. Verse 7, thou shalt not make or take the name of the Most High in vain, Yahweh the Elohim, for Yahweh or the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Taking his name in vain also is not just like speaking bad words. It's also in Hebrew, name can be a representation. So taking the Most High's name in vain also relates to our actions. If we are to be Yasha Allah, but we're acting like an Egyptian, we're taking the Most High's name in vain, if that makes sense. Verse 8, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shall 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord thy God, and in it you shall not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and resteth the seventh day, where Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So again, this is something that's big in Christianity. The Roman Catholic system has turned the holy day to Sunday, and that's because they worship the sun. It comes from a pagan origin. But also, Christians and pastors will say, well, I worship God every day, which is great. But the Most High has a specific day, which you see here, that He has that we are to set apart for Him, which is His Sabbath, which is His holy day. Um, Verse 12: Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is his neighbor's. Um, Yeah. So again, and we know that the people said all that he said to do, we will do. So those are the 10 commandments that he gave to the people, and then he proceeded to give every other commandment and continue to explain as they continued their journey. Um, but these 10 commandments and all the Most High's commandments are still valid. They're still important to us in this time. This is not like the commandments is not like some restrictive type of law, like he's keeping us under some sort of bondage. The commandments, uh it brings life. The Most High basically took a nation of people that were not a nation of people and gave them orders and instructions on how to live, how to be a husband, how to be a wife, how to be a son, how to be a daughter, how to have a governmental type system, for a lack of a better word, what to do when someone is pregnant, had a baby, what to do if someone committed adultery, what to do if someone or you have to go out to war. What do you do with the trees? What type of foods do we eat? The Most High is establishing the laws and the commandments. For people to say that they're done away with, it just doesn't make any sense when you get it in your hearts and your minds. That's why reading it from the beginning to the end is so important, because if the Most High is not given, if you have a nation of people with no rules, laws, regulations, then anything goes. And the moral code is based off of whatever you feel and whatever you think. So a lot of times, I talk with Christians here and there, and without a law, without covenant, then you can't say that someone is being wrong for being a homosexual. Someone that you can't say that someone is wrong for being a murderer. You can't say that someone is wrong for all of these things that most people would agree that is wrong. But what's happening is they're picking and choosing which laws are still valid, and that wouldn't be the correct way to do things. So just like we say someone being perverse or a fornicator or an adulterer is wrong, the same way the Most High said eating pork is wrong, eating shrimp is wrong. All of those things all compass together. Did anyone have any comments about any of that?
Yeah, all praises out. I just want to just support what you're saying, and continue to contrast what we learned in church, what we grew up with. We heard that term, new covenant. I'm in the new covenant. New covenant, and covenant means contract. And as Nariah pointed out, the way the Israelites make contracts is with blood. And so the Christians say they're in a new covenant by Christ's blood, but where can we read the terms of your contract? Where can we find the terms of your contract? Because surely we all knew or believe at one point in our lives that when we were under Christianity and we fell out into the world, we knew that at that time that we were no longer saved. And then once you come back to church and do all that crying and snotting and repent, you are saved. But what gives me confirmation that I'm saved now? So where can we read? And I'm saying this for the benefit of the news people. Where can we read? Go ask your pastors. Go ask your pastors and your deacons. If they love you, they should be able to tell you these things. Where can we find the terms of the New Testament? Where can we find the terms of the New Covenant? And with that, I yield.
Con. There's only a few slides left, a few slides left. So if you can hang in there, there's a few slides left. We're just covering the who and the what today. Um, and we'll, revisit at a later time. So just continuing on, going to Leviticus chapter 26, Leviticus chapter 26 and 9. The Most High is kind of reiterating some of the things that we just read, and he's going over uh, some of the blessings and things that you would receive for keeping his covenant. Um, I'll just read a few just to give some context to it. Verse 3, Leviticus 26 says, "If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall increase, shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time. So you'll have a good harvest. And ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. And I will give you peace in the land. And you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. The what? So some of that is also covering the why, but we'll talk about that at another time. So the Most High, the key here is the Most High is just reaffirming the stipulations and the qualifications, the stipulations. It's another word I want to think of, but all of these things in the midst of his covenant. Uh, Going over to Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy 4. So Deuteronomy chapter 4, the water, the parameters, that's a good word. So Deuteronomy 4 and 12, just keeping it simple here. It says, um, and the Most High spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, the what? Which he commanded you to perform, especially the 10 Commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And Yahweh the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you the statutes and the judgments, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. So again, the Most High was teaching us, our ancestors, forefathers, and foremothers, his ways, his laws, his statutes, his commandments, so that we can be a fruitful nation, so that we can be a prospering nation that's in line and in step with him on the earth as they are in heaven. Also wanted to roll over to chapter 9. I guess slipping my mind what I wanted from that, so I'll skip that for now. Um, one of the last ones here, and then I think I have a New Testament one, and then that may draw out some witnesses from Tazabah. So one of the last ones here is Second Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 11. Second Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 11. And did I put the right one in there? Excuse me. Yeah. So on the screen, I got the Berean Standard Bible version. So the King James version says, verse 10, the Lord have therefore spoken his word that he have spoken, therefore have performed his word that he have spoken. For I am risen up in the room of David my father, and am set on the throne of Israel, as the Most High promised, and have built a house for the name of the Most High, the power of Israel. So he's talking about Solomon. And in it I have put the ark, wherein is the covenant of the Most High that he made with the children of Israel. So generation after generation after generation, key figure after key figure after key figure, the covenant was still important. And the Berean Standard Bible says, "And there I have placed the ark which contains the covenant. I have placed the ark which contains the covenant of Yahweh that He made with the children of Israel." So it's covering the who and the what in both sentences, and letting you know that the covenant is important, and letting you know that it's made specifically with the children of Israel. And then if we go back further, we know it goes to Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham, if that makes sense. So right here, briefly, Tazabah had mentioned this. This here is the last slide here. And this obviously is from the New Testament, and it's from Matthew 26, I believe it is. And here is where you can find one of the errors if you read just the King James Bible. So I'll read it and then we'll talk about it. It says Matthew 26, and I'm going to start at 26. It says, "And as they were eating, Jesus or Yahushua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, 'Take, eat, this is my body.' And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, 'Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament,'" King James, "which is shed for many for the remissions of sins." So here people say that this is, where the new covenant, the New Testament is being established. But if you look through some of the other Bible translations, you can see some footnotes. Some of them leave footnotes in there. But them adding New Testament or New Covenant in the King James um, was something that was added. It wasn't something that was originally there. And there's many, if you do like a Bible comparison, there's many more translations that say it closer to what the NLT is saying here. It says, "For this is my blood which confirms the covenant between the Most High and his people." So it's reconfirming, or it's confirming the covenant that was already made. It is poured out as a sacrifice to forgive the sins of many. um so there it causes a lot of confusion, because a lot of times people say that, this is where the new covenant was. Tazabah, did you have any comments about that?
All praises to the great I am. I do. I do. So this is a perfect proof text of what I shared with the group last night, uh, where Jasher asks about that verse in Mark 16 about speaking with new tongues, and now we're reading about this is the blood. This is the blood of the New Testament. So I posted it in the group. I think it was last night. Every time, or not every time, but for those who are new, most times when the KJV used that word "new," the original Greek was Strong's G 2537, and I just verified it right here in this verse as well. The Greek word is G 2537, and it's kenus, kenus, and kenus doesn't mean new like brand new. Kenus or kenos means in freshness, because I don't know if any of you on here. I know there's a lot of new faces. I'm not sure if any of you partake or did partake in the Greek societies, but in the Greek societies, when you were pledging and then you made it through their little ritual and you crossed over, they called you a neophyte, because neophyte in the Greek, that's the word that means brand new. And when we read the word new in the KJV, King James New Testament, just like here in this verse, New Testament is not saying neos, it's saying kenus. So what Shamaria is bringing out, the other translations, they restored the original context of what Messiah is saying. My blood has refreshed, my blood has renewed the covenant that y'all broke. My blood has renewed, kenus. Because if it was a brand new covenant, the Greek would have used the word neos. And then if it was a brand new covenant, Messiah would have to left them the terms. But he didn't have to leave them the terms because they already knew, because he kept repeating what Moses gave them. So this is all praise to the great I am for restoring his people and giving us eyes to see, ears to hear. Kaya Dala Yahweh Sham Yahweh Shah.
And that's the end of the class. So I don't know if anybody had anything else, but definitely all praise to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son. Um, hopefully you could see and review that, the covenant is important. Who we are is important, and that the covenant is still valid unto this day. When Christ came, his blood that was shed for the forgiveness of sins of our people and our nation, um, that confirmed and renewed and refreshed the covenant. He brought us back in the fold to the Father, gave us that pathway, that doorway back. Like he said, that he was the door. So he's that doorway, that pathway back to the Father. And it's given us a chance to walk the covenant, get on the right path, not to take liberty and just do whatever we want to do. So if there's anyone, you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free. If not, I appreciate if praise to Gamaria and Tazaba Baija, their house, for allowing me to speak on their platform or our platform now. But just thank y'all for including me and seeing fit that I can bring forth the word. Thank y'all. Love y'all so much.
All praises Op Nariah. The first hand I seen was Op Nariah.
Khan, there's just two things that I wanted to touch on. One, I just wanted to back up a little bit and go back to Exodus chapter 20, verse 6. You read a very important verse, especially for newer people, because a lot of times coming out of Christianity, I heard a lot of times people would say, well, me and God have our own personal relationship, or I have my own personal relationship with God. But Exodus chapter 20, verse 6, the Most High Himself relaying this to Moses to tell the children of Israel, it says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So this is a proof text showing you that you can't love God the way you want to love Him. The way you show God that you love him is by doing what he says and obeying his instructions and not doing things the way you want to do it. So that's one. And also, just kind of going back in regards to um, what Ibaja was bringing out earlier regarding, just showing the Christian dogma of them trying to say that we are all Abraham's seed by faith. Um, I just wanted to point out that when it comes to sinning, according to the quote unquote Old Testament, if you were to commit a transgression that is not worthy of death, you had to make some sort of blood sacrifice in order to atone for your sin. But when you made that sacrifice, for one, you brought the sacrifice to the door and gave it to the priest to perform. Secondly, the priest didn't come back to you with the receipt saying, your sins are forgiven, go in peace. So, how did you know you were forgiven of your sin, even back in the times of the Old Testament, supposedly? You had to have faith that your sins were forgiven. So fast forward to when the Messiah laid his life down, when you read the wickedness of the Israelites of our people, there was no way we were supposed to be forgiven for the sins and iniquities that we committed against our power. But because of his mercy, he sent his son, and also because of the promise that he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Israel to bring us back. So when the Messiah laid his life down and shed his blood for atonement for the nation of Israel, that was a sign that the ones who had left the and this is, I don't want to go too deep into this, but just for anybody who may think about this at a later time, when the two kingdoms were split and the northern kingdom had went away and started being considered as the quote unquote Gentiles, that sacrifice by the Messiah brought the nation back together. So now we live by the faith that the Messiah's blood has made us one nation again, so we can go back to performing our duty to keep the commandments of our power, to show him that we love him and that we believe and honor his son for laying his life down. So I hope that made sense. I'll yield with that.
Con, all praises. Con, all praises.
My rib has something.
All praises to the Most High and His begotten Son. I just wanted to say I enjoyed this teaching. I always enjoy when Shamaria teaches, but I also it's kind of it's timely because I was just talking to Sister Olivia and my husband this morning in reference to a new members class, and so the Most High is moving because getting back to the basics and trying to teach people at entry level, and I just love it. And I was just talking to him about actually talking with you, Shamaria, in reference to putting together something. So this is just on time, and I just want to thank you and I love you, and just wanted to say that all praises.
All praises. Wow, yeah, the Most High definitely be moving because I didn't know if I was gonna be teaching this week, but I was trying to be prepared just in case. And then I couldn't figure out, like, I didn't want to talk about the Gentiles thing yet because it's gonna take some time to like really explain that. So I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. And Most High gave me this, and all praises. I guess that was what was needed.
All praises.
Indeed, she definitely was just asking to have a family and friends day, and I told her, to get with you and just go ahead and coordinate it. So this is definitely Most High moving. We have a lot of new faces inside the building or inside the virtual space. So give me a day or two. I'll get this cleaned up and published on a YouTube channel so people can replay it and take it and go verify it. We're no longer taking anybody at their word. Everyone is under investigation. So we will get this published. You can take your time, go back, replay it, and verify these scriptures yourself. And if you're still going to church, if you still have a pastor that's trying to be your shepherd, go have a conversation with him. Ask him about this because he just laid the intro. But if once we get to the deeper meat, we're going to show you how everything he laid down, the introduction about Abraham having the covenant, we find the same language in the so-called New Testament. All the way to the book of Revelation, it's about Abraham's seed having this covenant. So we're trying to fish for the lost sheep of Israel and also the righteous Gentiles who are not trying to be deceitful, who are not trying to replace us, who are not trying to be equal to us. The true righteous Gentile who understand that we have the covenant, but they also want to live holy. We welcome them to fellowship with us as well. And the last thing I'll leave you with before we pray, I'm going to call on Sister Olivia if she has an open mic, if she can come and close us out. But the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and this is for the sake of everyone, if we are indeed under a new covenant, if we are indeed in a New Testament, please show me the terms so I know that I'm not messing up. And I'm saying this for the Christians. Ask your pastor to show you the terms of the New Testament so you could be sure that you're not upsetting the Most High. And then secondly, the reason why we know we're not in the New Testament is because we're still here in a foreign land, because the covenant said that when we messed up, he was going to scatter us in a foreign land. The covenant said when we messed up that we were going to have to seek our enemies for everything. And right now, we go to the enemy, strangers, for everything. We don't grow our food. We don't make our clothes. So if we're under a new covenant, why are we still suffering the terms of the first contract? So these are the critical questions that we're asking the Christian clergy to sit down with us and verify this information. Turn the organ off, sit the drummer down. Let's have a civil conversation, and let's go verse by verse, and let's see if your way of life is really inside the Bible. And we can see already the Christian way of life is not inside the scriptures. They have to find another text to teach that Christian religion. And with that, I yield. Any last comments or questions before we call on Sister Olivia?